Welcome, welcome. Get comfy. See more eyeballs joining. Curious to know where everybody is joining from this evening. We're seeing anybody from different time zones. One more minute and then we'll start. I know it's dinner time in the Netherlands, so a lot of people are probably rushing to finish their bowl of pasta or their stamppot before they can join. See more eyeballs, more people joining. Thirty more seconds. Make sure that you have a comfortable seat. You're going to be busy for an hour and a half. All right, let's get started. Now, depending on where you're joining us from in the world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, and a very warm welcome to the special District 59 online event. My name is Natascha Jacobsz. I'm a former journalist, and I'm also a proud member of the Toastmasters community based in the Netherlands. And we're here for a very special reason. Because just 3 weeks ago, more than 30,000 participants culminated competing in one special event, the Toastmasters International Annual Conference in Philadelphia in the US. Now, as I said, 30,000 participants started at a club level, then area, then division, then district, and then they were whittled down to 28 regional participants who were invited to step onto the grand stage in Philadelphia. After months of blood, sweat, tears, and stories, 28 went to 8, and then one final champion was left standing. And you and I have the opportunity to engage with him tonight, because even though I'm sitting here, we asked you to send in your questions. You will also have the opportunity at the end of the conversation to ask some more via the chat function. So this is about asking questions. It's about learning. It's about inspiration. So sit back, but also open those eyes, ears, and hearts so that you can take all the lessons with you. He's an author. He's a consultant. He's a podcaster. And now he gets to add the title of World Champion in Public Speaking to his CV. It is my great honor and pleasure this evening to not only introduce you to Toastmasters International World Champion of Public Speaking for 2025, but I also get to call him a dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, let me introduce you to Mr. Sabyasachi Sengupta.
Wow, thank you so much, Natascha, for that introduction. I am humbled. Thank you so, so much.
Sabi, I cannot start this conversation tonight without this very first question. Since he played such a fundamental part in your speech, what did your dad say?
He was very, very proud. So my parents are actually in the Netherlands right now. And when I came back from the States, they were at home, extremely proud and happy. My parents were in charge of making sure the awards are kept in the right place. They were very, very happy. The day before, my friends came over to decorate my apartment. So there was like a whole thing done. So they were very, very happy.
All right. So now, doctor, lawyer, engineer, public speaking champion.
I hope. I think today, I think there are way more career options. Like today, I think anybody, when I was at that crossroad of making a career choice in my late teens or early 20s, this was all we knew growing up. I mean, but today, I think anybody can go up to their dad and say, I want to be a YouTuber, an Instagrammer, and people understand what it means. So, yeah, and uh, I think I hope my journey inspires others to find their voice and become public speaker because it is a huge honor to be able to express one's idea to a big group of people.
Now, there's a big group of people tonight that want to hear from you, want to learn from you. But Sabi, let's take a step back. And at the risk of sounding like a bad joke, a young Indian expat walks into a Toastmasters meeting.
Yes.
That was 15 years ago. What
Yes.
brought you to Toastmasters? But I think more importantly, what's kept you there after 15 years?
It's a funny story. So when I moved to the Netherlands, I didn't have friends here, and I came to study at the University of Amsterdam, and I was living with my brother in Utrecht. I really struggled with the new climate. I didn't know what life looks like when there is no sun. It was like I was robbed of sunshine, and autumn and everything was very, very difficult. So around December, early December or mid-December, my brother told me like, "Hey, you like debating when you were in college and all. Would you like to check out this group called Toastmasters? They do public speaking." So here's a fun fact: I had no idea what public speaking is all about. I mean, I thought it's a thing only politicians do. It's not something normal people actually do. So I was like, I don't know, like maybe it sounds like a group of boring people, but but you know what? Let me check it out. So this was a day in 2010 in December when it was badly snowed in. So Utrecht Toastmasters meets at a bar in Florin. And that day there were only like 7 or 8 members who showed up because it was snowed in badly. Nobody could travel. So I remember walking into the bar and asking like, where's this Toastmasters club? But their meeting is upstairs. I thought they just sit here in the bar, and they pointed me to a table of people who were drinking beers, um, and they were like, "Yeah, we're Toastmasters." I'm like, "Okay, this looks like a very alcoholic group who are drinking." And they mentioned that we might have to cancel the meeting today because not many people showed up, but you can sit with us and talk. Now, I want to say how nervous I was in my first months in the Netherlands. I said, no, 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 I want to just go for a walk. I don't want to sit here. And they were like, where are you going to walk? It's snowing. I said, no, I like the snow. But I was so shy and had no confidence to talk to new people, strangers. I was like, I'd rather stand in the snow outside than come and sit with these guys in the table.
Wow.
And 10 minutes later, I came back again to ask, and they were like, yeah, we are having the meeting. We have enough people showed up. So come upstairs with me. And that's how it started.
What's made you stay after all of these years? Because I've gotten to know you after the last 5 years, and I can proudly say you're definitely not shy. Still, the love for alcohol. For anybody watching, we have a shared love of tequila, so that's our celebratory drink of choice. And I still owe you one after
Yes.
Philadelphia. But what's kept you coming back? Because you've changed, your career has changed. What's kept you tied to Toastmasters, bar the competitions?
I think I also changed as a speaker. I think that's what also I could see my own progress as a speaker. So the first time I gave an icebreaker, I thought it looked very easy to me because like I said, I've done debates and stuff. So I thought going up and talking. But when in debates you're still sitting most of the time, maybe that's at least what I did when I was in college. Now standing in front of a group, people looking, they're acknowledging, they're nodding. You're like, whoa, don't react, let me just so I think I evolved as a speaker and I could see that journey. Now also this is the district conferences we had and we still have is are definitely one thing that kept me in Toastmasters. I say it with my honest heart, and it's without the competitions. Even like the friends I made at these conferences, some of them are friends for lifetime. Like I just literally came back from a friend's wedding in Italy, and I met them at the district conference in Milan in 2017. So it's the kind of friendship that you make. um, what else community gives you a chance to know someone in Switzerland or in Portugal or in like Australia? You get to know people, like, and wherever, whichever part of the world you go, this is a common currency. You say Toastmasters, and they just welcome you in their hearts and lives with a smile. And over the years, meeting such wonderful people, and then moving to Amsterdam, we co-founded Fusion, and then it's just I it's also a strange question for me to answer, that why am I still in Toastmasters, because I never thought of leaving. So I never even questioned should I leave. I it's just it's the longest relationship of my life, I guess.
I would say it's lasted longer than a lot of marriages. So once you're, it's like the mafia, you never leave.
Exactly. We grew together. We grew together.
So, Avi, you mentioned the conferences, you've mentioned the friendships that are built. I can attest to this as an expat moving to the Netherlands, meeting great friends over the last 5 years, and certainly the fun of the conventions and the conferences. But let's get into the contests, because I
Yes.
think that's the burning question for people listening this evening or this morning or this afternoon, again, depending on where you are in the world. Let's start with the contests. When did you start competing at a club level? And, we said it's a 15-year journey to the World Championship now, but when did it really become serious currency for you?
So 2012, I competed first time in humorous speech contest, and so if you and people, please correct me if you're from Utrecht Toastmasters. It's a very relaxed, fun, friendly club. There, people are super relaxed. We meet on Friday evenings. People are like chilled. But that day on the competition, the vibe was very different. And suddenly, I got disqualified over time. Like people, I've never seen like people being so strict with time, with exception to a competition. So it is something people take very seriously. And there was one speaker that I really looked up to, Daniel Van Dorn, and he became my mentor later. And I walked up to him. So I did give a good speech, but of course I got overtimed and disqualified. I went to him and said, "Hey, what did you think?" Now, general vibe is people go like, "Lovely speech, this and that," and he was like, "That was not good. And what are you wearing? This is not you. This is not what you wear for a competition. This is not like, you need to take it seriously." And went home and I reached out to him and told him, "Will you mentor me?" And when you have someone who's also he's also competing, I'm also competing, but we take competitions seriously. I think that definitely was a turning point for me.
And let's talk about that journey, because I just mentioned, for those who are not Toastmasters joining this evening, you start at club level, you move to area. If you win your club, if you win area, you go to division, and then ultimately you go to district. What has that journey looked like for you? How many times have you taken the top spot at division, district? And obviously this was the first time going to the finals, but how many times? Because I think a lot of people think, oh, maybe I can do it first time round. It's a 15-year labor of love for you. But what did that journey look like for you?
I think I've lost most times at area, second or not even generally second or third, but that's also out of three competitors. I've been third out of three, so that has also happened in area. Area, I still find that the hardest competition. Club, you know these people, you can make situational humor, you can make banters at club members, and it works. You know what works in this club or not. It's your safe space. Suddenly you go to the area where there's only five or six of your club members joining that competition, and there are people from different clubs that you don't know. They are not responding to your speech, they're not responding to your humor, for example. And then I think that's definitely the toughest. So I have seen, if I win area, I end up in district most of the time. But area for me has always been the hardest competition. It's also what also changes is area is also the first time the competition is held during the day. And what we don't realize as that it as even as a speaker, it does, your energy varies. So we
Mm.
are mostly used to speaking in the evening because most of our Toastmasters clubs are in the evening. And then you have a fantastic speech, and then you do that in a Saturday morning with only 10 people, slightly empty room. People are still like, sleepy. your even the best speech do not make that impact because you fail to make that connection. So area is the toughest in my opinion, at least for me. Division, in the past it was bigger, so it was more um, more noise, more preparation. But when you're at the division, you start believing that district can happen, and district is a big deal. So then there is natural motivation. For area, the motivation is also not that high sometimes. So division in our division C was way more competitive in the past when we were full Netherlands. You can imagine, like, all guns firing. It's still competitive. It's still very, very competitive. But we used to have like 100 people in one division contest attending. And then, of course, district, which is quite an experience being on the district stage.
Yeah, in front of the entire district, and in District 59, of
And,
course,
and
is five
they're also
countries.
they're also what I always advise people, and I do that myself. District competitions are generally in the afternoon, a very hard time to speak. So if you're not in that momentum to speak after lunch, and if you're speaking competing for the first time, have a heavy lunch and then straight at 1 p.m. going for your competition, yeah, you that's going to be tough. That's definitely going to be tough.
Right. So you've touched on a couple of things: mentorship, time of day, getting yourself ready. But you're saying area contests are tough. So there was some failure in this process of, and interestingly enough, we got a question, and we asked for your questions ahead of time as well. And it's a Toastmaster from District 125, and it's Sushil Davar, and he wants to know, how do you deal with failure? What are your rituals when things don't go your way for that specific contest?
I won't lie, it is hard. When you put your heart and soul, it is hard. Um, and sometimes it depends on why you think you've lost. Why you think you've lost. If you think my speech wasn't good and everything, then you just accept it and move on. Sometimes it does happen. You think the judges, that also happens a lot. Some Then you think that's really hurtful. um, there is no answer, but I think the truth is just prep up for next time. What I have done is whoever has beaten me, I have reached out and told them, brilliant speech, and if for the next level, if I can be of any help, let me know. Even if you're not on stage, but I would make an effort to be a part of someone's winning journey. And I think that definitely helps. It's okay to feel upset and sad, but the best way to get over it is to help the person who is going to the next level, because that person may be happy but is also nervous. So invest energy in that, and then you will also learn. You may not see yourself on stage, but you can see your lines, the things that you tweaked on stage. You slowly imagine yourself on that next level stage, and that's a beautiful feeling.
I can only imagine. And you just mentioned, helping someone on their journey. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people, besides preparing for Philadelphia, have been instrumental in your journey. Let's talk about mentorship and coaching. And I still want to decouple it from Philadelphia. Who have been instrumental in your Toastmasters journey over these 15 years?
A lot of people, lot of people. So I will try to name all of them. The first person, I was awestruck when I saw him at Utrecht Toastmasters, Peter Zinn. For people who know Peter Zinn, like tsunami of energy, like the real rock star. But at the same time, if you go to him at the bar afterwards, asking for feedback, guidance, the most down to earth, affable person. Every time you see Peter, what I love about Peter is he he's always trying something new. He's not he's challenging himself. He's sometimes I've also seen him trying something new that's not working, but that's the constant trying a new style, trying a new way of crafting the speech. Also, what I learned from him was I've seen him as also as a contest master in Porto, in Egmond as well. What I've learned from him is when you're doing a role like that, it's of course your show. You're gonna razzle dazzle, but get the basics right. Make sure everybody that gets the mic testing. Make sure all the rules and things are followed. Make sure your pronunciation of each and every name is perfect. and he taught me how to do that. He taught me how to, make your own spelling so the pronunciation is correct. So I start with that, with Peter Zinn, who is a totally legend, I think, for me. And then Daniel Van Dorn, I mentioned, he's mentored me for several years, um, pushed me, also gave me his shoulder when I didn't win, and always inspired me to compete next year. When I've competed with him, sometimes I have beat him in competitions as well. I have learned from him how to gracefully accept that. And then he would come to me and say, Sabi, good, you won this. Let's make you win the next level. So the grace I spoke about is something I've also learned from Daniel for over the years. These were the people at the very start of my Toastmasters journey. And then like I'm speaking, and suddenly one day I see this girl with super talent comes and just like blows us off, Samrita. I'm like, whoa, what a lady, what a speaker. It's amazing. So and seeing her, how she handles situation, how she handles humor, so much to learn. I'm now still in Utrecht. I've seen these people. Abraham, for example, I think he's one of the finest speaker, who's always, I've learned something from him. Cora, uh, amazing. And then once I went to district, then John Zimmer, Florian, Olivia, these guys were just phenomenal and extremely instrumental in giving me the push. And of course, I cannot um, talk about my Toastmaster journey without that one mentor who's been through thick and thin, Aditya, who still, if I am stuttering, stumbling, self-doubting, I know he's one phone call away, and after that phone call, I will feel like I can do anything.
Wonderful to hear how the community keeps supporting each other, no matter who is where, who's winning, who's moving. It ultimately has an influence, and had a very positive influence on your own life. Sorry, let's talk about moving beyond district,
Yes.
because it happened this year. And it's actually a question, I think, from Gian Knape. He
Hmm.
wanted to know what gave you the edge this year? What do you think was key to finally cracking the code? Because I have to say, the Sabi is only the third European winner of the World Championship. So, what do you think was key to your success this year after 15 years?
To go through the quarterfinals or win the world championship, which one?
Well, go through to the next step, because that's we haven't, I think, in District 59 gone through to regionals in a very, very long time. And you're only the third European winner. So what cracked the code for you this year, winning district and very successfully with Donkey, and then going through to the regional finals?
I wish there was a secret code. I really wish.
So
I
you'd
can
make a
tell
lot
you.
of money with
I
that.
wish there was. The truth is, you know, I can give you an honest answer, and that lies in my spirituality that I also gave in my acceptance speech, to have a detachment. When you detach from the outcome, that I want to win, I need to win, and you focus only on what's in your hands, your actions, which is about the 7 minutes, crafting the good speech, asking for feedback, the journey becomes easier. So one of the things I did not do consciously was look up all the other 27 contestants who were in the semifinals. I was told, like, you can look them up, look at their speaking styles on YouTube, and I'm like, what am I going to do with that? Like, I still will speak the way I speak. It's not going to influence anything. So I rather focus on what is in my hands. The I want to say this, that there were sometimes I heard like there are secrets that win semis, they don't win finals, the finals that don't win semis. In the end, if you've seen the Kung Fu Panda movie, the dragon scroll, in the end when he opens that secret dragon scroll, it was just an image of Po, the panda bear. I think that is the secret, that when you are yourself, when you believe you're the dragon warrior, when you believe you can win, that's what takes you to win. And again, I can say all this because I won the first prize, but I would have still said all this if I had not won. Like I said, winning and losing are not in my hand. If somebody had done a Dhananjaya speech, I see something in you, maybe I wouldn't have won. But that is not something I can control or influence. What I can control and influence is those 7.5 minutes. So I know whatever rank I get, whatever rank I don't get, people will say that I was very entertained and I really liked your speech. That's all I can control, and that's all I try to control.
Well, let's talk about the path towards. Because yes, you can control those 7.5 minutes, but there's a hell of a lot of work that goes into those 7.5 minutes. So Toby, you got the crack, you got the call. Who informed you, by the way? What happens? How do you get to
God.
know that you've
So
made
it
it?
was, so this year was a very dramatic year for me. Everything was a bit of a drama. So at the quarterfinals, Toastmasters International started announcing the names of the semi-finalists on the 30th of June, but on the website. But they only announced 20 out of 28 winners. So if your region results were out, so they did from region 1 to 10, and we were region no, the 1 to 9, and
Yeah.
10 wasn't announced. So so our region was not announced, so we didn't know. um but on the website, if you look, there were already 20 names. So the common assumption is all the names are out and I didn't make it. So I did get messages from the leadership team like, hey, sorry, didn't make it, we trust you. And there was sent with a lot of love. Ilona actually sent me the message. She was like, Sabi, so sorry you didn't make it, but we loved your speech. We believe in you. Try next year. Very, very positive and kind messages. I was like, sad. Okay, this year I thought I can make it. Maybe didn't work out. Fine. And then Ilona went and rechecked, and she was like, "Wait, doesn't look like a complete list." And then she checked with all the names that our region results were not out. Nobody from our region got to the semis, or from my quarterfinal. No, it was not region; it was quarterfinal. I was in quarterfinal 11, so up to 10 they declared, and only four quarterfinal results were not out that night.
And they
So
happen to include yours.
that happened to be mine as well. So I was half asleep and sad, and I get a call from Ilona at midnight. Very excited. She is like, "Sab, we have news for you. Your results are not yet out. You're still in the running." And I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. And then I was half asleep. I was When I woke up in the morning, I wasn't sure if that conversation actually happened or I was dreaming about it. I wasn't very sure. But then I saw the group WhatsApps and stuff. But I had already made peace that okay, I'm not winning. It's fine. It's not going to happen this year. I'm going to try next year. We'll see. Around 6 p.m., I get an email. Congratulations, you're one of the semi-finalists. I was a little bit like, whoa, is this real or someone's pulling a prank? So it was the first day of my club president, Naomi, of Fusion Toastmasters. She also happens to be a lawyer. So I sent her the email saying, this is an email. Can you use your lawyer instinct and tell me there's nothing wrong in this and there's no
Was that it wasn't a
conditions
hoax?
attached? Yeah. And she calls me 10 seconds back, and she's like, "You're through it." They were super happy. And then I get calls from all of you, and yeah, I was like, this is happening.
So this is happening. That moment happened. How
Yeah.
soon afterwards did the preparation start? And what does that look like? Because we got some questions from Toastmasters, quite a few questions of Sabi, what happens? What kind of speeches do you do? Do you use the same speeches? Can you take us through what happened next for you? And then maybe all just a bit of background on, how far do you go with Donkey? When do you do your next speech?
So, when you're going to the semi-finals, the best thing to do is to go with two speeches, one for the semis, one for the finals. You cannot do the same speech in both semis and finals. Now, for the semis, they had sent me a form to fill up before 1st of August, where I have to give the outline, opening, closing, and details of the speech. So they make sure that I'm not using or kind of revamping the same speech for for the finals or in any future semifinals. So the speech that I've done in semifinals, I cannot use it for any Toastmasters competition in semifinals particularly and finals. So that speech will have to be
Done and dusted. It's going
done and
into the
dusted
archives.
for
Yeah.
all the 27 contestants who participated, because we have signed it. So if you're competing for the second time, you have to outline all previous speeches you've done in semifinals and finals. So those speeches you cannot reuse again. So whether you win or not, you have to come up with something new.
So
That's
the originality clause that we always see in the contest is extremely important here.
it's extremely important, and it's even one level more than originality. You cannot reuse old semi speech. They became very strict on that recently, I've been told. So by 1st August, I had to inform them which speech I will be doing in the semis, and that's it. They didn't ask for finals because you have to first win the semifinals. So when I locked in the donkeys for the semis, I was yeah, I knew that there needs to be a new speech. I spoke to Aditya. I mentioned Aditya. Gave me a good idea that the results were out on 1st July, and I think it took me like at least 10 days to get my act together and start with preparation of the speech. He told me between July 1st and 31st, only work on the final speech, this new speech that you want to craft. And from 1st August, start only and only semifinals. The only time you're going to do the final speech is the day after semifinals, there's a gap day between semis and finals. Those 20 something days that I had in July, I didn't know what speech I want to do in the final. So it was a big soul searching. I've tried various topics. I've been to various Toastmasters clubs, tried various speeches. I didn't really connect and work till my friend Abraham told me, like, hey, I remember the speech from 2014 you did in Lyon. It was really funny. Why don't you use that speech? And I was like, no, I don't feel it anymore. I can't do that Bollywood swag. I'm now 11 years older. I'm too old for that speech. And Abraham convinced me that you should do it, but to do it with today's maturity. And that conversation really, and I'm so grateful that I reached out to Abby that one day when I was feeling like completely lost, that I have no inspiration for a final speech, and then that I crafted that speech. And the donkeys from 1st August was full preparation on donkeys. Then I didn't put too much focus on the finals.
But it's still, let's talk a bit about that inspiration, because I think people always think that, especially in the Toastmasters community, it's all about new ideas. It's always about fresh angles, fresh stories, and from the sounds of it, it's quite tough to then, under pressure, come up with something fresh and new. Is this something that you've also seen in other pressure preparations for previous contests and previous inspiration?
I think I have if I look back at the times when I didn't win a contest is when I wrote a fresh contest speech, because what at least that what happens to me, what is happening to me right now, or what the frame of mind I'm in, that's all I can think about and write about. Then like today, if I had to write a fresh speech, me wanting to be a Bollywood actor and finance colleague was not what I was thinking. I mean, that spirituality, self-forgiveness, behavior change, building a business, that's all the fresh speeches I wrote for the finals. And none of them had that zing that just not had. And so in the past also, whenever I did a good speech at the club, and when you do a good speech, you get applauded, people come and give you nice feedback, and that speech resonated, but it's raw. When you work on that speech for the club competition, that's where I got most successes, because then I'm doing a speech that I already did, so I remember it's got feedback. I just need to work on it, and instead of inventing the wheel.
Let's talk about feedback.
Mm.
Obviously, in this process of preparing for Philadelphia, you got coaches and mentors in. And how did you do that? Did people approach you and say, Sabi, I really want to work with you and help you? Did you approach the people who you involved formally? How did that process come about?
Both happened. But once the quarterfinal results were out, there were a lot of people that reached out to me, uh, offering to coach. Um, I
How
don't
do
know.
you choose then who to work
I don't
with?
know if I should say this loud. Some paid, some not paid, some pro
I
bono.
can imagine it's a business opportunity.
It's a business opportunity as well. How do I choose? So I'll tell you why John did write me a message, and I reached out to I know John for many years. I saw him in a district conference in Antwerp in 2013. He won that contest, and I was like blown away what a brilliant speaker he is. And 2014, for the same humorous speech that I in the end did in the finals, I wrote him an email saying, "Hey, you don't know me. I saw you and I was so mesmerized by your speech, and I'm reaching out. Would you give me some feedback on my speech? I have one division. I'm going to the district." And he was kind enough to come back to me with some pointers and feedback. And then over the years, we got to know each other better. We've at the district conference, at friends' weddings, had more conversations, and that's just I just got to. I mean, I felt this is a mentor that I can fully trust, that is not going to pulverize my self-esteem on days when I'm feeling I can't do this. And there were many days like that when I felt like I can't do it. Even a week before the contest. I know this is someone who knows, who has his way to inspire me to stand back. And the other thing is I follow his blogs. He has extreme attention to details when it comes to speech crafting, how to he is right now finishing a second by second analysis of my speech. He's that detailed oriented. That's not something I'm good at. That's not something where my strength lies. So it's good to find someone who has that, who has that expertise. The other person, Aditya, he is I've literally like looked up to him since I've known him. He has been to our conference. What a brilliant speaker and also human being he is. So um like he's been to the world championship I think 3 times already, maybe more. And he knows the pulses, he knows the stage, he knows me also as a person, because we are friends. And so he knows how to motivate me and add those magic sprinkles in the ways. I can tell you, when he was visiting me for a weekend from London before the contest, and I felt like I can't, like I was really not feeling, when you're doing rehearsals, you're stumbling, you're not getting it, your energy is low, you're trying it for the fourth time, you're not getting it. Adit is not someone who's going to say you're not doing it well. He's like, doing well, good, let's take a break, let's watch something. And he puts on a cricket match where he showed me a cricketer, our favorite cricketer, Virat Kohli, who there's a famous cricket match in 2022 for all the Indians, they would know. He showed me how he pulled out victory from nowhere basically. And what he told me is, look at this guy. If it's a not important match, if it's not a very high stake match, his energy is down. He's not that cautious. But the day it matters the most, he brings his A game. Be like that on the big stage. You're stumbling, stuttering, but when you're on that big stage, you're going to be a Virat Kohli. You're something magic will happen to you. And his words were right. They were probably right because he made me believe in that.
So for anybody listening that thinks, oh, maybe I should get myself a coach or a mentor, what is the one tip you would give them for choosing the right person for them?
Oof. Um, I think go for someone you vibe best with. You have that vibe because it's a very vulnerable process preparing for a speech contest. 2014, I prepared with Jessica Lygraf when I did that humorous speech. Look for someone and I really, really learned so much in that journey with Jessica at that time. So I would say pick someone who has a different style, who can tell you the uncomfortable truth, but also in a way that you can accept. So the most important thing is someone who knows what it is, this high stake, who knows what feedback to give you 1 month before and 1 day before. If you think this person doesn't have that sensitivity, then probably not a good idea. I think look for that, how they know how they give feedback 1 month before, 1 day before, 1 week before. I think that is a very important quality to have in a mentor.
So that's the formal mentor coachee relationship. But sometimes you get a lot of feedback. I mean, you went on a whole tour. I know you visited my club as well to present and get feedback. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. And but they say that feedback is the lifeblood of Toastmasters.
Mhm,
But sometimes that feedback goes against your own natural instincts
mhm.
or doesn't quite resonate. How do you deal with this feedback that resonates or doesn't, has a grain of truth or feels completely off the mark?
I think for me it was numbers game. So I did so many speeches, so many feedback that I um that at some point I used I had to believe what I want to take, what I don't want to take. I think not everybody has this sensitivity to give you feedback, that and that's something I struggled with. But whenever anybody heard, especially when I did a fresh speech, there was a lot of times I heard like, this is not a world championship material, and I think they would write and thank God for those feedback. I use different speech, but in those moments it was like, yeah, but it's I'm writing it for the first time, I'm trying it for the first time. As true as that is, it is also, in a month I will be doing it on a big stage. So um, take it with a pinch of salt, but also understand that what is the objective. What I did feel in every club, every person I reached out, they all were trying to help me win the competition. There was no malice, no hidden agenda. There was a lot of love, and people just have different ways of expressing. I mean, if you live in the Netherlands, you're used to directness and
Very direct feedback.
exactly. So I think, yeah, that's something I have yeah, learned, that to take it with a pinch of salt, but know it's coming from a place of love.
And kindness, and hopefully supporting you in the process. And so, I mean, you decided this year, and I'm putting this in context of the international context over the last few years. We've seen trends where it's very deep and emotional speeches. We've seen light-hearted. You very specifically, for both your semi-final and your final speech, went the humorous route. What was that decision or that instinct based on? Despite, we've seen many years with much more heavier topics, and sometimes the expectation that those are the types of topics that win at an international level.
I think, yeah, I think there's it's a tough one, but to go for the conviction. I did have I think someone told me that every year in the international speech competition there is a very funny speech that's everybody laughs a lot, but that they don't win necessarily. But there was one important factor that nobody, and that was a worry I had in my heart, that a funny speech doesn't win. Now, 15 minutes before the competition, so on the front row the contestants are sitting. Behind them they have a friend who's helping them with the bags and everything. That's also reserved seat. So one of the contestant had a previous year finalist there, and I didn't know this person. And a lot of people came up to him and it's like, I loved your speech, there was a tree and monkey in your speech, oh my god, it was so hilarious, it was so funny. And then I went to him and said, people remember your speech so well. How did it go? He's like, it was great until the last 3 seconds when I got disqualified. I'm like, no, did it happen? He's like, yeah, that's the risk of funny speech. 3 seconds costed me the title. Otherwise, I would have won. I had the crowd. And that conversation really made me feel like funny speeches do win. The only thing is, it can get over time because there's a lot of laughter and stuff. That's the only part you have to manage. So it is a myth, because in the end, no one comes to a Toastmaster conference to learn about life or philosophy or about global markets or AI. They come here to be entertained. They come here to be, to entertain. And entertainment can be any. It can be through drama, through laughter, through emotions. No one's here to get gospel truths of life. At least that's what I think. Having said that, I want to say this. Last year, we had a conversation, you and I, where, and that really helped me to choose this topic. So, I can I say that about that conversation?
You are allowed to say
Conversation
anything.
I'm
This is
talking
your
about.
interview.
Okay. So last year I had a lot of opportunities to do keynotes at large corporates, banks, energy company. I was talking about topics that work for me on behavior change, on human side of innovation. But there was an insecurity that I was harboring. I'm generally the funny person who makes people laugh. If you have seen me speech, I'm generally like, there's always banter, jokes, to warm up. And also along the way, it's not like the first 10 seconds and then it's all serious. Like to play with the crowd. And for the longest time, I thought it is a crutch, that people won't take me seriously. People will take me like, he was just a clown. You're not the serious person. So when I got this big or corporates to speak, I reached out to Natasha, and anybody who knows Natasha, they what an amazing speaker and person she is, and she coaches top people. And I told her, like, listen, I struggle with this, that I'm really funny and super energy. Can you tell me how I can be taken more seriously, where people won't just write me off because I'm funny? And I think you told me some in the lines, that's the biggest asset you have. So many people struggle to make people laugh. You should never lose that. That is what's going to make you special. I'm paraphrasing, but that was the message that you sent me back. And so when I won the world championship, I sent you a voice note from Philadelphia telling you thank you for saying that to me, uh, telling me this 8 months back, because it made such an impact on me, coming from a person I respect so much, that being funny, being lighthearted doesn't mean you're not adding value. You can add value with laughter, with lightheartedness, and that's what I went with both my speeches. And so, thank you for that conversation.
You're welcome, and thank you for listening. And by the way, can you phone my husband to do the same thing? To listen to me every now and again. Shelby, but let's go to Philadelphia,
Yes.
and it's a 3-4 day conference. You're mulling around with thousands of Toastmasters around the world. What's the atmosphere like, knowing that you will be stepping onto the stage in, of course, the semis and hopefully the finals? But yeah, take for those of us who haven't had the opportunity to travel to this large international convention. What is it like? What's the vibe like? And did you feel the pressure?
Oh, yes. The pressure was tremendous. Let me start with the Wednesday. So Thursday was the semifinals, Saturday's the finals. Wednesday was the briefing for the semifinal contestant, and we were all asked to come in one room. And then they will do a big briefing, and they will break us into the group of seven. And I was in semifinal four. Now, when we arrived, we were standing outside the room. They will let us in. I meet some of the semi-final contestants, and they were all very nice. They were friendly, but just the confidence some of them have. There's one lady, she was so nice. She was also a contestant. She got like fridge magnets and keychains for each and every one of us, for we remember. Some of them have been to the finals before. Some of them have been to semi-finals before. Um, you walk into the room. I remember after the briefing, I walked out and told Naomi, my club president. By the way, she accompanied me to this, and I wouldn't have won without her support. Honestly, I tell you this.
She was your bouncer, your protector, your mentor while you were
Not
there.
just this, I want to say this. From the day the semi-final results were announced, every morning I got a message from her saying, "Sabi, you are my champion. You're the winner. We believe in you." I can't tell you how refreshing and how kind and how much impact they made to me. So after the briefing, I told Naomi, I think I'm the most undeserving semi-finalist here. Everybody looks so confident. They are all like the geared up. They're in their suits, and they're all in full energy. They're cracking jokes. I, I'm I this I feel like I'm the most undeserving one here. I don't know what to do. And I also got a bit sick because the weather in Philly was a bit up and down, so I got a bit of a cold. And she was pepping me, and I told her, "Can I ask you for one favor?" So the semi-finals were in the Marriott, and the final was in the convention hall across the street. I asked her, "Can we go to the convention hall and see the big room?" So we went there. We were not allowed in. We saw it from the outside, and I saw that magnum opus of a room with such like that was just amazing. When I saw that room, I was like, I want to be here, and that motivation really carried me through the next day, Thursday, when I arrived for the semifinals. And I remember both semifinals and finals morning. I woke up feeling I got this. I'm going to do a good speech today. Again, like I said, all I can control is the good speech. Winning and losing are not in my hand. I'll give a good speech, and that's what I went with.
Do you have any interesting pre-speech rituals? Maybe a pair of secret socks?
Yeah.
Is there anything specific you do to kind of prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or energetically before you walk onto that stage?
The whole morning it's filled with rituals. I have a pair of green cufflinks that my mentor Daniel and Josine gave me when they moved to San Francisco. It's a little cufflink with the water that drips up and down. And they said, now when we are leaving, we need something that keeps you leveled. So since 2014, till today, for every major speech I've done in my life, I've always wore those cufflinks. So it's like having them by my side. Um, then I have I go for a run. I keep my I small run so I don't tire my body, but to be in motion. I avoid coffee to make sure my voice is not compromised. And the last hour, I stick a pencil like this and I do the entire speech couple of times so my vocal cords are awake and I can articulate better. As a non-native speaker who speaks fast, I know sometimes I have lost points for not articulating well. So that's an area where I consciously take efforts in the morning, and I prepare you cannot help not prepare. You're preparing in your head constantly, but I do it in tranches. So my energy, like the speech should not be like high energy and then it falls.
Mhm.
It should be like this. So the peak moments, the fun moments, like if you see not just not the singing or the nodding part, I will prepare them in trances. So I'm when I'm doing them, my energy is also up.
Okay, so those are the pre-rituals that you have. You're standing there to the side of the stage. And this is a question from Paolo Perina. She wants to know, in that moment, what's going through your mind?
Honestly, nothing. I'd say this, I have never been more present in my life than those moments. For the finals, we have a green room. So we are sitting in the front row in the corner, and the first three contestants are mic'd up, and we have access to the green room where there is a toilet, there is water there, and there's a little backstage. So just when the speech ends, so I saw the person just before me end with like a big hand gesture, and that's all I saw. I didn't see anything of his speech, but I just I tell you, even before that speech, when we do the stage, when we were on stage 2 3 hours before doing the mic testing, empty room, I stood on the stage, I was like, I got it. I love this. And I was thinking about the same. Now I'm loving it. And there are certain things I didn't do deliberately. Like jogged a little on stage, came a bit running, and it was not pre-planned. It just how excited I was to do it. Now it was like, this is all I have prepared for. This is showtime and I'm ready to do it. There's no doubts in my mind. And this 7 minutes is what I also say in my speech. Nothing else matters except the stage, my craft, and my audience. And just going up, and I went with that excitement. It ended up being a little run that was not planned. And yeah, it's just those 7 minutes. I don't think I processed a single emotion. I don't remember any emotion in my head. I have never been more present with my craft than those 7 minutes 20 seconds.
So you're in that moment for 7 minutes and 20 seconds, then you say those closing words back to you, contest chair. What happens to your body, to your mind in that moment?
Remember, I remind myself to acknowledge the audience and bow down. Something I saw. I went to see a play this year in London, Richard, and I'm a huge fan of Jonathan Bailey, the actor. And after giving like an hour or two performance, crazy performance, he was like on fire. He comes back twice to bow to the audience, and something I have since then incorporated in my every speech, to bow to the audience, thank them for appreciating and giving me that energy that I was bouncing with you. So that's the one thing I consciously do. I want to do it so often that it becomes second nature to me. So I that's what I did, and then just walk off. And yeah, it's just crazy. And then I see my fellow contestants on the backstage. We high five. Um, they say nice things. In that moment, you don't know those are real or not, because we are all supporting each other. We're all like, great speech, lovely. We're very positive, upbeat.
Yeah.
So you don't know if that's really a good speech or not. But generally, people are very positive. So that was the common vibe.
And then it's a waiting game. I think it was about an hour. It's the deliberations, it's the judging, it's the checking. What are you doing in that time while you're waiting
I
for
was
the outcome?
cheering for other contestant. I was contestant number two. I was not happy with my number. I wish I was three or four. Being in the middle is works. John told me two is great. You put so much energy that nobody can match your energy. And I went with that that thought that John gave me. Put so much energy that no one can match it. And that was what I did. And we were cheering for everybody. We were laughing, rooting. It's the day before the contest when we had the briefing. The finals briefing is nothing like we've ever seen before. We're taken to a boardroom where there are these microphones like on the table. You have to press a button to speak in your turn. Everything is being recorded. There is few people who are parliamentary observing that all the rules are being followed. There are world champions who walk in, give us a pep talk. They tell us we are right in the middle, in the front row. Any moment you hesitate or you stutter or you feel uncomfortable, look at us. We'll give you energy. We'll give you love to carry on your speech. We get two world champion who gives us personalized written letters, wishing us all the best in our journey. It's just that Friday, the eight of us felt like the happiest people on the world that we had that. So that love we carried also while we were in the seat cheering for one another, and we were all very proudly because yes, there is the competition element, but we also know what it means to be on that stage and what it takes. And so that was just you can see the love there.
So as you're sitting and listening to the rest of the contestants, because you said you were number two, at any point did it cross your mind, I could be number one? Or was it a complete shock when they announced your name? Or was there a moment where you thought, this could be me?
I would be lying if I say I didn't think I would be in the top three. I thought, okay, I made it to the top three for sure. Um, when all the speeches were done, um, a part of me, and not being, I'm trying to be, when I'm not competing, the most common thing I do or with friends is top three, who's the top three, who are the top three. Now, I I had my phone with me and I was getting messages already from everywhere. You killed it. You're the winner. You're the winner. You're the winner. So at those moments, you don't know if your friends are just being nice to you or they genuinely mean it. But I felt I had a chance. I did feel I'm I didn't. It wasn't like so when they announced one and two, I was like, okay, now I feel I have a chance of winning. But still, it can go either way. So yeah.
And then they go, ladies and gentlemen, the world champion for 2025 is Sabyasachi Sengupta. What's the first thing that went through your mind?
I don't remember that. I don't remember. It's
So
when I
an
see
out of
the
body experience as you go up to that stage.
yeah, I there is a video of that. I stood up. So Naomi, so here's the thing. I told you about Naomi. She has been also telling me when she heard both the speeches, Donkey and um so once I won the semifinals, I was like, maybe I should have done this on the finals. This worked really well. I should have kept it. And Naomi told me that your donkey speech was the best, but this just not. This is good. This is meant for big stage. This will take everybody out of the park. She kept telling me this is a winner speech. This is a winner speech. Even after I gave the speech, just a little, of course we cannot talk that moment because all the contestants are there. So, but little eye contact here and there. You were like, yeah, that was there. So I saw the video when they announced me. I turned back, I smiled at them, give a laugh, and I ran to the stage. So so that explains the energy. I have no memory of running to the stage, but I did it.
And you had a very, very sweet acceptance speech as well. It is online, everybody. So if you're thinking, what is he talking about? Please be sure to watch his speech. And his acceptance is also on the Toastmasters website. So, what does it mean to be world champion? What does this mean for you right now? And I think a lot of people wanted to know, is this then over? Can you only be a champion once? What is the legalities and the processes now post your win, post being world champion?
So I cannot compete in international speech contest for sure, but I think for other contests, humorous or evaluations and table topics, you can still compete because they don't go to they end at the district level. What it means, like the last 2 weeks, I have been overwhelmed with lots of love, like press reaching out. podcast messages, scammers. Also, I've got a lot of scam messages as well.
The
Uh,
opportunity everywhere.
Yes, so it's amazing. It's a lot of responsibility to to inspire others and help them in that journey as well. Part of me wants to just go to sleep and or go somewhere holiday and away from social media. Part of me, of course, wants to capitalize. What I did was I did speak to a few world champions already. I spoke to Mike Carr, spoke to Cyril, I spoke to Aaron Beverly. Very nice people. They were like, we totally understand what you're going through. Take it easy. Go with the flow. Go with this wave, and and what take whatever comes in your way. It is the timing wise it is perfect because this September I'm fully done with my banking job at ABN AMRO, so no more spreadsheets for me, and and I am in the journey to build my own behavior change consulting company, Method in Madness, and now this gives me a little that push that I needed to to spread the word. The thing what I often got questioned was whenever I spoke about doing culture change or something, I didn't want to do it with PowerPoints and book. I wanted to do with improv or Legos or fun ways. And most people don't believe you can bring change or do something big while you're having fun. I think if anything, my victory is a proof to myself first and then to the world that whoever has the most fun in the end wins. So whether what if you're writing your speech, if you're giving your speech, if you're doing work, change, innovation, or even reorganization, make sure you have fun. If you're not enjoying the process, that means this is not going to end well.
And on the best end, hopefully end well.
Yeah.
Sorry, what is the one piece of advice you would give any Toastmaster watching right now, listening to your story, inspired by your journey? What's the one piece of advice you would give to them? And what's the one piece of advice maybe you would have given to yourself 15 years ago?
Everything happens at the right time. I think if I have been disappointed the times when I didn't win. I thought, oh, well, how did I not win? Someone else won. They were not good. I was better. But the truth is, it happens in the right time when you're ready, when you are in that bandwidth to accept it. And I think I spoke to someone that 2 or 3 years back, if I had won, I wouldn't have had the grace and the maturity to handle this situation. Today, I think I do. And that's it happens at the right time. So if you haven't won yet, it means that you need to the timing is not right yet for you. But keep persistence. Like I've competed at least 12 or 10 times that I remember, and then if I remember the autumn conferences probably even more. um I've competed and every speech give the same conviction. Now the other advice that I always give to my club members, and I want to share this with everybody, is not always I have been a competitor on the big stage or district or division. Whenever I haven't been, I've taken any role that helps me get on stage, whether being an MC or sometimes you've seen me roast the entire meet the conference like I did in Antwerp. Get on the stage. There's a no better teacher than stage. Fall in love with the stage. If you fall in love with the stage will love you back, and then the rest is history. So get on the stage as many times you can, even if it's for 2 minutes, even if it's for 30 seconds, even if it's for 1 hour. Get that experience. When you know how to move your audience, when you know how to act, react, with the group, that's when you are building that world championship speech.
And also possibly becoming a better communicator in daily life as well.
Absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
Selby, I've run out of my questions, and I promised everybody online that they would get the opportunity to ask you these questions directly, and I'm going to do it on behalf of them. And we've got quite a few. So I'm
Okay.
going to start with, and I'm going to do my very best to pronounce the surnames correctly, because as Sabi said, it's incredibly important to show respect to that. And the first question is from Vamsi Yerapragada.
Okay.
And he or she asks, what did you have to unlearn from Toastmasters training in order to compete? at World Championship level?
Unlearn. Wow. I can tell you about the finals. So, you know, the most common thing when you give someone your speech, can you give me feedback? The most common thing you'll get is add this, add this, add this. So one thing I had to be conscious and or perhaps unlearn is not to add too much. When I did the dry run of my Just Not speech 2 hours before the competition, I ended on 5 minutes 50 seconds because I know it's a humorous piece. There will be a lot of laughter, and I ended on 7 minutes 20-ish. So 10 seconds and one more laughter, I probably would have been disqualified. So that urge to add something new to the speech, last minute addition, add a little bit more, that we do at a club level, sometimes we do in a regular speech. That was one thing I had to unlearn, that not add more, because time is of a huge factor here. Like I said, a 5 minutes 50 seconds speech ended up 7 minutes 20 on the big stage. So you can imagine when you're doing a humorous kind of speech, how time is an important factor.
Even more so, absolutely. All right, we have a next question. This is from Dindi Ramomahanaro. And the question is, who is your biggest inspiration when it comes to public speaking? Yeah,
Oh,
these existential questions, Sabi.
I have a lot of people. I think I'm going to name Toastmaster friends because I think I've seen them speech, so I'm always inspired. I'm looking at one right now, Natascha. If you haven't seen her live speak, she's impeccable. The first time I heard her speech, it was in a Zoom Toastmaster contest. She was just knocked it out of the park. Um, one speaker I really look up to, Abraham. He will kill me for taking his name, but I will say I think he's got this unconventional funny way he can pull a humor out of nowhere, and I think that quality I don't have, and I listen to him. I wish someday I can have that kind of wit and way of crafting, like Abraham. And then there's of course Aditya is definitely a huge inspiration. I mean, I really look up to him. I mentioned him a couple of times already. And in my peer group, Percy Roland, also great speaker. Melchior, I think from Switzerland, who people have seen him, he's fantastic. Jag Gale, he's really amazing. Sangrita, Cora, when and I think I mean, and I want to challenge these people because they are, and I mean, I'm probably missing people's names, so forgive me. But the reason I'm specifically because these are the people I've grown in Toastmasters with. I've known them for 10 years, or 10 years. I've seen them speak, and I know on a day when they've prepared their speech and they are in their craft, they can win any championship. As friends, I would love to also challenge them to, you know, do it more often.
And I'm pretty sure if I ask anybody watching this conversation right now who is their public speaking hero, your name will definitely sit at the top of the list. We have another question. This is from Prashant. Prashant is from District 121. And he says, how is your preparation usually a day before the contests? What did you eat before the finals in the US? And the most important question, Sabi, did you drink tequila after winning?
So what did I eat? Uh, it's actually a very good question because going to Philly, there was a jet lag, and it was in the afternoon. So I had to make sure that my eating pattern, because I don't want to eat at 12, so I'm sleepy. I found an Indian food that's my comfort food. I had biryani for every day because I just didn't want to experiment with the food. On the day of the contest, I had a soup. So I wanted to have enough, so I'm full but not sleepy, because after lunch dip is a thing, and I was the second speaker. So I had the same food for 4 or 5 days to be in a certain rhythm, and on the day, of course, soup, and like I said, minimum coffee, so that your voice is, at least my voice, I gets jeopardized if I have too much coffee. The second question was,
Did you drink your tequila?
unfortunately, no. Amol tried to buy me a tequila on Natasha's behalf, but there was only vodka available. So the tequila is still pending.
Okay, so for everybody based in the Netherlands, tequila on you for Sabi. I have a next question here. It's from Jim Jamison. And he says, you talked about choosing a humorous approach, but I think it's more than just humor. It's
Hmm.
your persona. He says,
Hmm.
you're very charming and endearing. Thanks, Jim. That's a very nice compliment to Sabi. People would love to be your friend. He asks, are you aware of this? And did you factor that in into both of your speeches? Interesting question.
It's a very interesting question. I think I'm at my best when I'm humorous, and that's where I feel charming. I have for years in international speech contests tried to be more deep, profound, pick topics where there is a flood happening or there is some kind of stabbing or very there's a failure, there is a there is a deep emotion. It's not natural to me. I mean, I can do it, but when it comes to bringing your A game, I think that's where it's not my where my A game lies. Humor is, of course, I think. And thank you for saying that. I will circle back to Natasha again. If you were in our Antwerp conference, she gave a brilliant workshop where she said uh, that there are three things that you need to do to, get hired. People need to like you, they need to trust you, and they need to trust you can do the job. And I think that also very much applies for as public in public speaking, that people need to like you. They also need to trust you that what you're saying is authentic, what you're saying is not, you're not trying to fool the audience. And because it does happen, you listen, you feel like you have been emotionally manipulated sometimes, so they trust you, and they trust that you're honest to your craft. So I think that's something follow. And like I said, I try to be authentic. And that was definitely a conscious choice to maximize my max, and the rest is not in my hand. So yeah.
We have a technical question here from Marina Tataram, who is our PQD this year in District 59. She said, how did you react to the timer lights? As prepared as you are, is if there is as little as a half sentence of improvisation, and you mentioned about, the laughter, the lights may be shown at different times than you're used to. How do you deal with that?
So generally, I have a calculation that before the red comes where I want to be. So so the red light was up when I was already in my almost last line. So I took my time to finish it, like get on the stage and just nod. So I was comfortable that okay, I'm going to end on 7, 10, 7, 15. So the important thing that also I've learned from John Zimmer, not now, I think even before in the humorous speech, don't finish at 6:50 or 7. Take also those as much as you can from those 30 seconds. Don't go beyond 7:20, but don't finish at 6:50 also. You're losing 30 seconds of audience interaction and timing. So that's an important thing. So we always try to keep it short, but make sure you are going a little bit over the 7, because those 10 seconds, 15 seconds are also very, very vital. Um, I've of course, I was confident because the 2 hours before when I did my speech, I was in the green when I finished it. So I was like 1 minute of laughter. I can still push. So yeah, but I do keep a little bit on the last part. I did have, so when I say just, some days you'll be trolled, some days you'll be that part. I knew if the time becomes a crunch, I'm gonna just take it off, just keep one. Some days you'll be trolled, but someday you'll make someone's life. So put on your red dress, come and nod. So that little adjustment always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, so you need that flexibility. And speaking of flexibility, another question from Andrea Barbero. Was that line about the boring Toastmaster board meetings a last minute ad? Or was it planned?
That was planned. That was because
But delivered as if it was improv.
yes, that was planned. But I did check with someone who attended. Was there any moments that might give, because if the meetings do run long and there are these moments that people often can make banters at, then it's even more relatable. And of course, like any other year, there were some derails that happened, and I capitalized it. I think it was an idea John gave me because he's been to that, and that's why having a mentor who has been to the World Championship is so handy. That he told me this happens. I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yes, definitely happens. So I prepared that line, and while I was executing it, Aditya told me, do you know the contest master is the next international director? So not the one from this year. He's going to be next year. So when you say not the one from this year, point at him because he's the boss at Toastmaster. He's going to be the next boss. So he's in somebody or leadership. Point at him. His reaction, his or her reaction, and pointing at them is going to be even more funny. So it was that yeah, it was, but it was planned.
But also an interesting point that also, use the knowledge of the Toastmasters around you for these little insights and tips, because they could just be valuable.
100%.
I have another technical question. It's actually from two different people. One's decided to stay anonymous, and another person is called Balaram Chaudhry, and both of them on voice. So they want to know, how can you improve the voice quality and sharpness in your voice for speaking? What suggestions can you give for them to improve their own voice quality at speaking events? Besides not drinking coffee, which is a great tip.
Yes, and avoid alcohol on those days and the night before. I think that definitely helps. For the longest time, I used to hate my voice. I thought my voice is not good, and you know, my best friend Cora, if you know her, she sings like a dream. You're like, why can't I sound like her? That's always in the back of my mind. But I think it's I think since I started liking my voice, and I did take some singing classes in the past because I used to speak very, very fast, and my articulation was often affected. So there, my teacher told me, "You have a nice voice. Everybody has a nice voice. All you have to do is manage that voice, and pace it, go slow, go fast, go high, go low, learn those techniques." And taking a singing course definitely helped me. I mean, I had no intention to be a singer, but I wanted to learn from a professional. What does speaking high mean? What low means? What how to do all of that. So I think I took 10 classes. I mean, that was more than enough to learn certain techniques and be told that you have a good voice. Like you may not have melody, but that's a different thing. That's a skill that you learn. But we all have good voices. That's the reality.
Just developing and finding yours and being comfortable in your own voice and with
100%.
your voice.
100%.
Sorry, someone wants to know, and it says, can you break down your training schedule? I imagine that you train all year long. And I assume this is not the running training schedule she's referring to, but your speech training. Yeah, what does a Toastmaster year look like for you in terms of practicing and training speeches?
I want to say that I don't. I feel even this. So fun fact, I didn't win the club contest. I came second. Naomi, I told you the president, she came first. And at the area contest, I had a good friend from Madrid Toastmasters, Pablo, visiting me, and he was like, "Dude, you're 2 days away from the contest. Are we going to prepare?" I'm like, "Yeah, but we're going to do it." Like, no, let's prepare. So working with Pablo, I took the speech more seriously, and I started getting better and. It it improved along the way, but I don't have fixed training. um I have to be honest, when you are in Toastmasters for a long time, your prepared number of prepared speeches you do goes down dramatically. But I really enjoy evaluating. I evaluate a lot because while you evaluate a speaker, you learn so much, what to say, what positives to give, what they can do better. I think doing if you don't have bandwidth to do a lot of prepared speeches, do evaluations. And I also coach sometimes people when they have a prepared speech or something, or ask me for a feedback. That keeps you learn new styles, new techniques, and that's what helps me.
Good to hear. Sabi, couple of very practical questions because, of course, people are curious to speak to you, engage with you, see you. This is a question from Malcolm Wilson, and he's very happy that it's the first time that someone from the Dutch Kingdom won. So I assume he's from one of our Netherlands islands.
Nice.
And he says, would it be possible, and no pressure right now, to arrange with you a virtual visit with us, the Toastmasters in the Caribbean part of the Dutch Kingdom? So,
But my first reaction is why virtual?
so Malcolm, have a conversation with Sabia, reach out. He'd be happy to jump on a flight, it seems.
I've been to Curacao. I really liked it, but I've not been to the other islands. So it's and considering how the weather was today in the Netherlands, cloudy and gloomy, and next few days, I will jump in any plane possible.
So that's the Caribbean. Sabia, we've got another anonymous question, but it says, hello from California. Will Sabia be going on a speaking tour to cities in the US?
I have not been invited. Should I be invited, I'll be honored and happy to do so.
So for those of you who are based in the US, make sure that your club presidents, PQDs, have a conversation with Sabi. So we're slowly running out of time. I could speak to you for hours, but maybe this is a good question to end off with. It's from Piyush Jain, and he wants, or she wants to know, is what is your next step in Toastmasters?
Oof. I think right now there's a lot of district conferences that I have been invited to. I definitely like it's all happens in May, so I know at least I probably go f 4 district conferences to speak in the coming calendar year and few conferences that are happening in the coming months. So I think I remember Muhammad Katani when he won the world championship. He said in his acceptance speech that if I can win, anybody can win. And it sounded pretty cliched, but I don't think uh, any that I don't think he was lying. I think that's as true as anything can be. I believe in those words more than ever now that if I can do it, anybody can do it because um I'll be honest, I earlier this year had a conversation with a friend and I said I don't have the ambition to be a world champion anymore. It's gone. It's been too long, but I still competed and kept doing it. What I would want to do is if I can inspire others to compete. See, every year we have one winner, but we have 30,000 brilliant speakers that get nurtured, cultivated, and created through this journey. And if I can help people in that journey to cultivate, nurture, and create those 30,000 wonderful speakers, that will be my honor. Uh, yes, there's one winner, but there are 30,000 new and amazing speakers that are created every year.
And all they have to do is, to quote you, is just ask. And I just have a comment here from the PQD from District 59. For anybody thinking of inviting Sabi, she says, don't you all steal him, because from the 15th to the 17th of May next year, he'll be in Metz, France. So for everybody else, don't take those dates, but otherwise, Sabi is
It's already
willing
booked in my
and
calendar.
available for you. Sabi, I want to thank you for your time, for your insights. It's been a brilliant 90 minutes. It's been 90 minutes. Can you believe it?
No,
Thank you for sharing your insights, your truth, your experience. I'm pretty sure you're going to have more conversations over the coming days, months, weeks, and years. It was a delight. Thank you to everybody watching, wherever you're watching from in the world. Thank you for taking the time this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are. I hope the conversation was just as insightful for you as it was for me. And we look forward to hosting you at the next District 59 event. And you'll definitely see Sabi in action there. Sabi, thank you. Good luck with this period ahead.
thank you,
And
Natasha. I think if anybody wants to learn interviewing skills, this is the lady. Thank you so much for not just for today, for years. Like I said, nobody can call themselves a champion speaker. It's a speech, and speech is a product of so many people's love, feedback, and guidance. And you're one of them, and so many of them in the call as well. So thank you for helping me in this journey. Thank you for make giving me this honor of lifetime. So thank you, everyone.
thank you, everybody. Have a good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you are. And we will see you next time. From me in the Netherlands, District 59, it's goodbye.